once again to another episode of Love, Life and Faith with me, Dr. Abigail. I am glad to be here once again presenting another episode. Last week, I presented 6 questions I believe you should ask yourself to see whether you were ready for marriage. This was because many people look for the right mate, but few stop to ask themselves, am I the right mate? So as promised today, I'll be speaking on questions or discussions you need to have with your potential partner before you say, I do. Important conversations you should both be having now to really get to know each other. Saying we're in love alone is not enough. Many people tie the knot on the basis of this feeling of being in love without really knowing each other at all. So I encourage you to ask each other questions and provide your position on each topic as well. It is important, if you are discussing these questions, to tell each other the truth. Don't put on a facade. Don't be afraid and think I might lose this person if they knew my true position on this topic. An uncomfortable conversation now can save you so much heartache later. It is better both of you are honest about who you are, where you're going, and what do you want in life. Don't end up marrying someone you don't know, and the whole marriage suffers because it was based on a lie. There are so many questions you can ask, but these 6 areas make a good starting point. So are you ready? Number 1, find out, are we compatible spiritually? Are you equally yoked? That is the question you should be asking. If you're a Christian, simply you want to know, is your partner a Christian? Don't assume what they believe. Find out from each other, do you believe the same things about God, about Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, the Bible, what is right and what is wrong, etc. We can have friends who are unbelievers, but marriage is agreement between 2 people. And this is one fundamental area you both need to be on the same page. Even when both are Christians, it is essential to find out, are we going in the same direction as Christians? For example, are they a Sunday morning Christian or a daily devotion Christian? Do discuss and understand your positions about church attendance, for instance, about tithing. What if you feel called to something, but your partner does not? For example, one wants to become a pastor, the other one doesn't. Check that they are serious with God. That should you not end up marrying them, will they continue with God? Is he or she excited about developing a spiritual growth without you pushing? These are important questions to ask. Number 2, you need to find out about each other's family. Many forget to do this. See, no matter how wonderful your partner is, you're not just marrying an individual. You marry into each other's family, and you're bound to have some sort of relationship with your in-laws. You don't have to be best friends with your in-laws, but you do have to be able to tolerate them being part of your life. So ask, do you have any issues with my family? Discuss, how close and how open do you both want to be about what's going on in your marriage with your families? For instance, what happens if your family needed to borrow money? These are conversations to be had. Again, discuss, how long do you want them to stay over or spend with them on vacation? Ask about your partner's upbringing. Did they grow up in a loving, affectionate home? Is there a history of abuse and aggression in the family? Any history of divorce? Any history of abandonment? Maybe an absentee father or maybe a nagging mother. It's important you know all these things, because I know many people who have said, I will never be like my father or my mother, and they end up exactly like them. Identify problem areas now and start working on them so that you can make a success of your own marriage. Number 3, know your partner's financial status. Yes, money again. Declare any debts and adverse credit history to one another. It is important that you know where each other's finances stand before you merge households. Ask about financial obligations to their family, perhaps to a previous family that the person had, or a child from another relationship. You need to know all this. It is also important to know your partner's spending habits. Are they a saver or are they a spender? You can even discuss career ambitions at this stage, just in case For instance, one was planning to be a homemaker and how this would or may affect your household finances. You need to know and agree so you're not caught, by surprise. Number 4, ask, how does your partner handle conflict? You both need to ask and observe. How well do they handle their anger? Do they throw things and lash out? When they're hurt, do they express their feelings or they hold them in until resentment builds? Do they withdraw for days and never speak about it? Do they cuss out and speak carelessly? You need to check if it's something you can handle. Another thing to check is, are we both good at apologizing? See, apologizing is a sign of maturity. Check, is your partner also quick to forgive? The other thing you need to ask is, will we seek professional help if we can't seem to handle things anymore? Number 5, discuss your beliefs around sex and previous relationships. You want to check if your partner believes in sexual purity or they think premarital sex is okay. I don't want to go into this today, but I will in my next episode. Ask about things which could potentially affect sex in your marriage. Examples include sexual abuse in the past, molestation, maybe early interactions with pornography, any toxic relationship, depression, because this can go on to affect the sex life in the marriage. You need to ask about previous relationships as well. How serious did it get? And if they've been involved in sexual activity before marriage, ask how many sexual partners have they had in the past. So does it say something about their self-control? Ask, have you ever been cheated on? Or has someone ever cheated on you? Number 6. This is my final point. You need to ask about children. Ask your partner, do you want children? Discuss how many you want, when, and how you plan to raise them, especially in the area of discipline and faith. What people fail to discuss is what happens if infertility is an issue. How hard will you continue to try? Ask how you feel about IVF, about adoption. Ask, of course, if there are any children from previous marriages and what are your financial obligations to them. You need to begin these conversations today. Use the 6 points that I've talked about in this video as a starting point. Perhaps you need to sit down with your partner and have a frank talk with this video playing, taking one point at a time. Not once, but you'll probably need more than one occasion to discuss it. Maximize each moment you have to find out more about each other. Even if you are thinking, well, we're only friends at this stage, be honest with each other, have the conversation, because secrets and lies will ruin any relationship. No matter how careful you are, you will get caught. So ask your partner, is there anything you are afraid to talk to me about? Are there any reasons you shouldn't say I do? Maybe there's a medical condition. Maybe there are issues with drugs, alcohol, and gambling. So you see, there's a whole lot to discuss. So start talking today. Remember, before you plan your wedding, plan your marriage. Next week, I'll be talking on defining boundaries. See, you need to set boundaries as a single person. And we'll also look at destructive traits that you should avoid as a single person. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video if it's blessed you, and share with your friends and family over and over again. Remember, life is a gift from God. Live every day by faith and love it. See you next week.